Unicorn Fondue, I am so glad that you covered this because I watched two other live streams. I'm not going to drop names on this because I was so absolutely disappointed in their coverage. They were just so ADHD across the board with and they were trying to respond to all sorts of comments in the chats and lots of tech. I mean, first of all, um, Chantal had technical difficulties to begin with in her live stream. But these folks also kept having issues with muting their mics, and it just was painful to try and get through the two live streams I tried to jump back and forth from this evening to try and figure out what the hell happened. So, for those of you who don't know what's going on here, um, Chantal Foodie Beauty apparently released two additional um, videos tonight. I don't know if they were both live streams, but one of them is she's trying to get into true crime, which I think everybody is in universal agreement that it's a mistake for her to do that because that's an area where there's a lot of legal things that could come back to bite her. And the people who do that type of live streaming, like live from my sofa, Amy with two M's, I can't remember her last name. There's a few of them out there that and Swoop, right? They do a lot of research before they put together it's not even live streams, it's like vlogs, or not even vlogs, it's like just a video, right? It's kind of like mini documentaries, but they're very cautious and careful about what they put forward. They use a lot of allegedlys in what they say, and the way that Chantal handled this was so insensitive and disgusting that it's entirely possible her channel might get taken down. Anyway, I want to give you Unicorn Fondue's full intro because it's always so fun.
Hello everybody, how are we? My name is Unicorn Fondue. Welcome back to another video. And I do want to apologize in advance, but like the true crime portion of this video slash like, you know, the important parts of this live stream is going to have to be edited because yeah, for some reason my recording software decided to record it but not record it in a way that would save, and I've been trying now for a good 15 minutes to try to get it back, and there's no saving it. I'm very sorry. Every time I try to open it, it just comes up with an error. I've tried converting it. I've tried using AI tools to try to save it, and it's just nothing saved. And truly, I don't want to have to re-listen to that again and react again to that. So...
Oh, what does this say? It's hard for me to read when I pause it. I can't. I wish you would just read this to me. Medical talk. I'll be censoring some of the photos.
So with that being said, I'm sorry. There's nothing I can do about it. I've been trying, but with that out of the way, I will be inserting like the beginning portion of this live stream edited down, and then we will be back to my current time. And I guess let's see how this goes.
Yeah, y'all not missing much. She basically giggled through a grape story, sorry. I know I'm supposed to use grape, right? She giggled her way through a story, especially at the perpetrator, the alleged perpetrator. Well, he did ultimately go to prison, but just because of his last name or something like that. She just found it hysterical. But her giggling throughout is just really weird.
I'm feeling very good. I'm feeling well. I'm on the mend. Am I ever going to see her hijab again? Yeah, of course. I'm eventually, like, I'm on the mend. Oh, somebody asked me about, this kind of health related, but whatever, I already talked about it. My injection, somebody asked if it had red liquid in it, and it does. So I guess it's like, because the B12 vitamin is like a red liquid for injection. So I went today to do that, and I had like no pain, hardly, like at all. Like, it's weird. I don't know. I'm so happy. Like, you have no idea.
By the way, nobody who has ever experienced sciatica, nobody in online who is a medical professional who has been looking at her story believes for a second that this is actually happening, that she has sciatica, that she's going to the doctor, that she's getting these injections. It doesn't make any sense, especially the way she first described it, with a needle as long as the wall of China. She was basically describing a sympathetic block, which is intended for complex regional pain syndrome, which is what I have. And you have to be put completely out for that. You have to have it done in a surgical center. And now she's trying to dial it back and say that she's getting like B12 shots like every 2 days. And the RN channel is saying no, you would get them like bi-weekly, like every other week. If you had a need, like some sort of deficiency for B12. And that would be caused, according to her channel, by like having anemia or some sort of condition that would, like being elderly, something that would cause you to have that deficiency. There was no concrete answer as to whether or not it could be connected to diabetes at all. And it wasn't connected to sciatica either.
From us anymore. I'm still streaming from my room, and that is particularly why I'm off camera. It's comfortable for me.
Well, you just did a mukbang today, so I guess you're not streaming from your room anymore, right? You were able to go into the living room and eat another haul that was intended for more than one person, because those plates, Chantal, are too large for one person to eat, unless like one plate, like say you just get the salad and that's your whole meal, then okay, that could be a meal. But you have that, and then you got the meat and potatoes, and you got the pita bread, and you got your pomegranate juice. That is a meal for 2 to 3 people at least.
I can sit longer. Like, I was able to do my cameos sitting down in the living room, which I haven't been able to do. So now, but I still can't sit for too long. Of course, laying is more comfortable right now. Hubby is in another room while I stream. You don't want, like, just to avoid a, like,
lying down, not laying down, lying down. I'm gonna keep saying this every time you say that.
Noises and distraction and stuff like that from someone else. I can't wait to do all the things. Me too. I want to do all the things for real. Dude, I legit screamed so loud watching that game. Brittany, isn't it creepy? It's so creepy. Yeah, no, I try not to lay around all day. You had sciatica surgery, really? Yeah, I find, getting up and walking around a bit, doing certain leg movements helps. I don't know, but right now I want to talk about a case that is, like, I recently like discovered this case, and it's so freaking bizarre and weird. And I just thought that you guys maybe, I don't know if you'd be entertained by it.
So, disclaimer on this. She's going to be really insensitive to how she delivers the information about this particular case. And it is a story about rape and sexual assault. And she's just giggling through the whole thing. It's really inappropriate.
Or not, but yeah, that's sad. That's so sad. I hate watching cases where like young children are like involved. I can't. Ugh, it makes me so sick. Like the Chris Watts case made me the sickest. I can't understand family annihilators. Like it's just so beyond any kind of comprehension for me that, you know. Okay, so today I'm going to be covering it's a Canadian case. It happened back in 1992. So let me just get my notes up. So I was actually going to do like a true crime and cooking. So I was going to put like a cooking segment and just kind of talk over it with this case. So I made like a script just to like kind of keep my facts straight here. But okay.
You're not coordinated enough to do both things at the same time. Let's be real.
So this case happened in, it's the case of a small town doctor called Doctor, and he has, I'm sorry, forgive me, but he has the funniest last name I don't know, like, wait till I say it. I can't say it normal. I have to say it in some kind of way, like, his name is Dr. Schneeberger, so I have to say, Dr. Schneeberger. I don't know. It's just a funny name.
Yeah, that's hilarious. This is not how true crime generally gets covered, Chantal. It doesn't. Not with this level of disrespect for the people involved. Little giggle at a funny name throughout the entire video is a bit tone deaf. This is also where she got the name from the picture in...
Who the heck is this? Hello, my name is Dr. Schneeb.
Oh.
Yeah, so this happened in a small farming town in rural...
Oh, I missed that. I missed that connection. Nice catch, Unicorn Pondu.
Saskatchewan called Kipling. So, very small town. There we go. I have a few pictures. So on Halloween night, so it's a town basically that has very few people, mostly farming, like I said. Rosemary.
Okay, seriously, Chantal. You're not in a bar with your dumbass buddies who would think that this is funny. You're literally putting this out on YouTube as true crime content. Have you ever watched any of the true crime channels? At all? Because this is not how they handle it.
It also... it doesn't have very many people. It doesn't have very much crime either. So a case like this is very, shocking, and everyone would talk about it, and, small town charm and all that. Everyone knows knows everyone's business kind of thing. So on Halloween night in 1992, a 23-year-old woman named Candace Foley had a bad argument with her boyfriend. She was working at... Oh, hold on a second. She was working at a local gas station, and she had a really bad argument with her boyfriend. So she fled to get away from him. I guess what I don't know is if her shift was over, if she just left. I don't know. But apparently, it was a pretty bad argument. So she fled to the Kipling Memorial Hospital. Yeah. So she fled to this.
You gotta rein in the nervous giggling. It's weird. If this is a genre that you want to cover, you have to learn how to rein in that nervous laughter, because it doesn't make sense for what you're trying to do right now.
The Kipling Memorial Union Hospital. Apparently she had a friend who worked there. So she was probably going there to try and, confide in her and calm down with her friend. But her friend wasn't there at the time. So a nurse noticed how distraught Candace was. So she suggested she see a doctor before leaving to just be checked out and make sure everything's okay, because she was under a lot of distress. Candy was seen by this doctor, Dr. Schneeberger.
Oh, God.
Let's look at
stop.
Dr. Schneeberger. Oh, my gosh. Sorry, but he's a loser. Okay.
Whether you think that or not, this is not how you deliver the story. This is really weird and very junior high yet again. I mean, seriously, I don't know how much more you can prove to us that you were immature and don't know how to handle adult topics and adult relationships.
So she was checked out by Dr. Schneeberger, and she was actually a patient of Dr. Schneeberger. So this Dr. Schneeberger, he was a very well-respected doctor in his community. Everyone liked him. It's a very small town, so he probably had a lot of patients and probably saw half of the town, if not all of the town, at some point. So he actually delivered her baby. So yeah, he delivered Candace's baby for her. So she was very familiar with Dr. Schneeberger, and she trusted him, right? I mean, like everyone in the small town, he had a good reputation, so she trusted him. He had a reputation of being a very good doctor. But Dr. Schneeberger said he was going to give Candace a sedative to calm her down. So she was, expecting tablets or something, but was surprised when he injected her with something instead. Something that she described as worked almost immediately and made her whole body go numb. She started panicking when she couldn't move her muscles anymore. All she could do basically was just fall over and utter a few groans. She could not scream for help or feel anything that was being done to her. All she could feel, she described when they said, basically, let's say you're getting a C-section and they freeze you, you could feel tugging, but you can't really tell what's going on. So that's how she described it. She knew something was being done to her, but she just didn't know exactly what. So basically, now Candace is a very wise young woman. So after the ordeal, she had the mind, despite her assaulting condition, to place her underwear in an airtight plastic bag she found in the doctor's office when she was finally able to move again. She had the mind to know that this could be used possibly for DNA evidence in the future. So, yeah, she stayed the night at the hospital because she was too dizzy to leave and they really wanted her to stay. So the next day, she actually confronted Dr. Schneeberger.
Stop it.
And asked what was given to her, and he replied, she was like, what did you give me, And he replied in a super cocky, taunting manner. He said, why did it give you wild dreams? So she basically, that just made her, her heart sank, because she knew by his answer then that he was already thinking of excuses and ways out of what he did, because it was later revealed that she was injected. Where is it? It gets crazy. So he injected her with something called Versed. That's the name brand for a drug, midazolam, which is used as a pre-anesthetic, and it can actually cause it causes, you can't move. It paralyzes you, basically, but it also can cause hallucinations. So, he's already coming up with that excuse that, you know, why? Whatever I give you hallucinations? You know, because he realizes that she's remembers what happened to her, so he's probably trying to get out of it already. So Candace told her parents what happened, and they believed her. Of course, no one else in the town seemed to, because it was such a small town, and like I said, everyone respected Dr. Schneebiggy. They thought that Candace was just trying to get money from him, or that she wanted the doctor.
I think it would have been better if you just found an article on this and read it, rather than do your weird voices and try and recreate the story with images. I feel like you've put yourself in some pretty hot legal jeopardy by covering it this way.
To herself, and basically just wanted to break up their marriage or something like that, because she really had a thing for Dr. Schneeberger, though no offense, I can't see it. You know? So because it's a small town and she didn't want her reputation, she didn't really want people to be talking about the situation because they didn't believe her anyway. So again, she did something smart. She drove 2 hours to Regina, a much bigger city in Saskatchewan, to get tested where no one would know her there. So sure enough, a schmexual assault test kit would reveal that there was male residue, for lack of a better term, on her underwear and jeans. You know what male residue is, right, guys?
Yes.
They went to the doctor for, to see if he would submit some DNA testing to compare with the schmexual assault kit. And he was so confident that he was innocent that he volunteered a DNA blood test when he was confronted with the evidence. So now to everyone's, especially Candy's, hi everybody who joined, I'll say hey to you guys in a minute. Now to his, to Candace's surprise and complete disappointment, the DNA from the blood test that was that the doctor took did not match the test, the schmexual, I have to be careful, schmexual assault test kit from her jeans and underwear. Mm-hmm. And she was like, what? She knew in her gut that he did do this to her. And she was just like, imagine finding out that the DNA did not match. What kind of case would you have if the DNA came up negative? DNA is...
By the way, Gorlick Bread did a summary of this, and he was able to recap the story much faster than she's able to tell it. So there's that option for you to watch as well.
A huge, it can make or break a case, basically. She was surprised, but she didn't believe it. So 7 more years would pass until Dr. Schneebiggy agreed to a second DNA test.
Damn,
again, I'm really bad at it. Where is it? All right, here he is getting a blood test. So 7 more years would pass until Dr. Schneeberger agreed to a second DNA test. Again, blood was drawn from the doctor's arm, but this time it was done with the police watching. The doctor always... What's weird is he always insisted that the blood be drawn from his left arm. Like, always his left arm. I guess presumably because that's where he claims his good vein is. Like, I do that when I get blood tests too. Like, I'm always like... I know exactly which vein they're going to get blood from, So... he could probably use that excuse. But, again, second time, his DNA would be negative. So again, Candace was shocked and extremely disappointed by these results. At this point, the police were ready to close the case. I mean, he passed 2 DNA tests. Usually 1 is enough to convince most of one's innocence. So, I mean, DNA evidence, like I said, is considered very strong evidence after all. And he was, 2 negative tests. But again, it did not sit right with Candace or her family. Again, Dr. Schneebiggy blamed the Versed, the midazolam, for Candace having hallucinations about what happened, because it can produce hallucination.
You are seriously too immature to try and cover this topic. If you can't get through the story without doing that weird voice every time you say his name, you are seriously too immature to cover this topic.
But to Candace's defense, experts would say, sure, the Versed can produce hallucinations, but it cannot produce DNA evidence. It cannot produce male residue on underwear and jeans. So that had to have come from someone, right? So Candace was determined not to give up, rightfully so. Very, very strong, wise woman. Because it's not easy to keep your composure and keep fighting for yourself when you have a whole town against you, not believing you. Even the police are ready to close the case in your face, She didn't want it happening to anyone else. She even said, like, one day it's going to be someone's child, or, it's going to be someone else, and I need this to break this case. So she hired a private investigator, and that investigator broke into the doctor's car, and there was a chapstick there. They took the chapstick and they had it tested for DNA using the epithelial cells found on the lip balm tube. Now, the cells found on the chapstick matched the DNA from the DNA kit found on Candace's underwear and jeans. So the chapstick matched. So she immediately relief for her, because it proved she was right all along. Her intuition was right, and she was not crazy. So then the question is, why is the DNA different on the chapstick from the doctor's blood test, right? But there was a problem with this. Like, there's no proof that the chapstick belonged to Dr. Schneeberger. And the evidence also could not be used in court anyway because of how it was obtained. Basically, the private investigator breaking into the doctor's car, right? So that's not a legal activity. So Candace, this goes on for years. Candace tries another route by trying to sue Dr. Schneeberger in court. And so the doctor was asked to take a third DNA test for this case. And this time, a nurse wanted blood from his finger instead of his arm. Try a different route. Both of the arm ones were negative in the past, so let's try your finger. But the doctor refused, saying he had a disease. Yeah, you have a disease. It's called loser disease. That made him easily bruise. And since his test was voluntary, the nurse tried to draw blood from the left arm again, because it was a voluntary test and he didn't have to do it at all. So he insisted on the left arm again. But this time, she had a very hard time pulling any blood at all. So after a couple of attempts, finally some blood was drawn, but the nurse noticed something bizarre about the blood. The blood did not appear fresh, and the sample actually was too degraded to get a DNA result. So at this point, Candace was like, oh, come on, this is just ridiculous at this point. Many more years would go by until there was actually a break in the case, but it actually came at a very unfortunate cost, however. So Dr. Schneeberger, his stepdaughter, revealed that, the doctor had been sexually assaulting her also, and would sneak into her room at night on several occasions, and also injected her with something, but she didn't know what. So, yeah, this guy was married. So his wife went through his office and found condoms, tons of medications. She even found Versed. So she reported this to the police, who brought him in, and this time, fourth time's a charm, they took DNA from his hair, saliva, and blood from his finger. So this DNA test, because it didn't come from his arm, was a match for both his stepdaughter's case and Candace's sexual assault kit findings on her jeans and her underwear. So why didn't the first 3 blood tests reveal a DNA match? Well, on the stand, Dr. Schneeberger would reveal that he had surgically, this is crazy to me, hold on, I gotta get this picture. He's so crazy, he surgically inserted a plastic tube filled with the blood of one of his patients. At one point, you can even see the tube protruding from his arm. Check this out, right here. But he's like hiding where the surgical incision is there, right where his hand is. No idea how they missed that, but anyway, I guess they thought he had huge veins. So he kept that nasty tube in all those years, right from 1992, this is 1996 here, So that's why the third blood test was full of old blood. So he said he did this to protect himself. So even with being caught, he didn't just, fess up. He still maintained his innocence, claiming he did this out of desperation to protect himself from the accusations. But no one believed him at this point. No one believed him. So all in all, good news for Candace, because she finally gets some justice now. He was charged with sexual assault, drugging his victims, and obstructing justice. He was sentenced, this is going to piss you off, it did me, to a mere 6 years and is a free man today. Ew. Too lenient of a sentence, in my opinion, for being a serial sexual assaulter. So, yeah, so that's the case. Isn't that creepy?
Yeah, it is. It's very creepy. And apparently they made a movie about it, and that's what your chat told you, right?
Hey guys, who did I miss? Applebee's. Why drive across town if you can walk across the hallway? What? Disney.
She's talking about the second victim.
Hi everybody, Pam, Shakala, Rudy. Hi Pam, Talia, Sigmund. That's pretty normal in Canada. She should have been at least 25 years. Yeah, exactly, creepy. By the way, Creepy Comfort and Crime, also a channel. Go sub up. They do a lot of really good Canadian crime, because most of the cases you hear, you don't hear too many of them from Canada. You have some major cases like, Paul Bernardo and all that, but definitely, and what's that one guy's name? Luca Magnotta. Ugh. But yeah, this schneeby loser should have got 25. I mean, people, I've seen...
There's a lot of channels that cover crime from all over the place. Mr. B. Allen. There's the other guy that's... he's young, but he's bald. And he does true crime as well. And he's covered Canadian stories too. I just can't remember his name right now, but he's in my feed as well.
People get life sentences for raping someone. So why on earth is this guy getting away with that? He's a free man today. You could unalive someone in Canada and be out in less than 10 years. Yeah. Oh, he's got to be old. I think I saw a picture of him being old and gray somewhere. You can probably Google it, but... Yeah, I wonder how many women he did that to, right? But at least he was caught. But,
Nice vaping on your stream there. He's probably not that old. He didn't look that old in that picture, and that was 92. He is probably younger than my parents.
That's so weird. I'd never heard of a case like this where somebody surgically... He's such an idiot. He kept the same tube in his arm for all those years so that there was old blood. That's disgusting. How do you live comfortably with an old tube in your arm? What a weirdo. Ugh. But yeah. There is a movie on it, Laura? No way. I didn't know that. Yeah, there's the link for their channel. Hi, Melly! Melly, I wanted to say thank you so much, because I realized after my stream that you not only gifted memberships, but you gifted Loyalty Beezer memberships, which is crazy. So thank you so much for that. I didn't watch Get Down with Sean and Marley. Do you want me to? I keep forgetting. Ugh. You have to email me and remind me, Applebee's. And send me some funny pictures.
Do we need all this? Do we need all this part? I don't think we need all this part, right? I don't think we need to cover the rest of it. That's pretty much it, I think. It's too long, you guys. And it's just an example of her immaturity again. Her giggling through serious subjects and just trying new content for her channel. I can't watch the whole thing. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, guys. I can't watch the whole thing. It doesn't look like Unicorn Pondu has the mukbang portion of it here. But basically, she does a second video in which she orders a huge salad, a huge plate of chicken and potatoes, and some pita bread, and pomegranate juice. And it's enough to feed 3 people easily. And she just, does her thing again, because that's how she do. Anyway, thank you, Unicorn Pondu, for the coverage. I'm not going to watch that whole thing. It's